Guys, good morning. What's happening? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you so very much. Damn, like everybody's here. Holy smokes. I see everybody. Raj, what's going on? Good morning. My mom, good morning. Good to see you, Mom. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you so very much. Um, yeah, we're here. We're live. We're chatting. If you guys can just let me know if my audio's coming through okay, I'd really appreciate that. I have a lot of kind of moving targets happening right now in front of me. I want to make sure I don't lose track of anything. Yeah. So what's been happening? If you guys had an opportunity yesterday to take in the interview with Mark, that was an absolutely amazing piece. I was so very humbled to reach out to Mark and chat with him and just throw the ball around with him. So I was truly humbled with that experience. And if you haven't had an opportunity, please, go check that out. It was awesome. It was great chatting with him. We chatted for about 45 minutes and just threw the ball around, really. Just got a feeling for where each other were at and had just an absolutely organic chat. So anyways, without being too long in the tooth, bear with me as I'm just getting something fixed. All right. Let me clip this out. So this first share was dropped to me off of the group chat that I have. And it simply stated, I got chills listening to this. I'm really appreciative of this.
My mom, and I told her about it. She goes, "You gotta make a TikTok. You gotta make a TikTok." So here we are. I'm going through TSA. Everything is fine. Jacket, shoes, iPad, phone, wallet, everything was okay going through TSA, except my Bible. There was two individuals at TSA looking at my Bible and thumbing through the pages. They took the Bible out and they said, "Ma'am, we're gonna have to put it through the monitor one more time." And I said, "Okay." I was keeping my cool and I said, "My guy, that's God's word right there. What could be the harm in the God's word going through?" Anyways, so they take my Bible and they put it back at the beginning of the conveyor belt and through the TSA system on the monitor. And once again, they were thumbing through the pages. It felt kind of invasive and I started to get worried. So I said, "What's up? What's going on?" And I tried to reach for it. He said, "Ma'am, please step back." And I said, "Okay, what's going on?" He said, "It's showing up illuminated on the monitor." And I said, "Illuminated?" And he said, "Yeah, it's shiny." Now, mind you, my Bible is matte burgundy. It's an NKJV matte Bible. There's nothing illuminated on it.
Again, guys, the edification, an NKJV, New King James Version. Okay, this is the version that I use. I'm not going to say anything more than that I use. And again, the key for me on that was when the floorboard that Mr. Ron Wyatt had tested, when he pulled that from the site in Ararat, Turkey of Noah's Ark, and it was edified as spruce. And again, in the NKJV version, it is stated that Noah is to build the ark out of spruce. There's other versions. The other version, I think they state gopher. NKJV.
So I started to think for a moment. I watched the one girl. She started to get kind of uncomfortable. She said, "It's just a Bible. This doesn't make any sense." And I used this as an opportunity to change the tone. I said, "You know what? I'm going to spread the gospel." So I became like Oprah Winfrey. It was like, "You get a verse, you get a verse, you get a verse." But I just found that kind of interesting. I have a lot of shiny things in my bag. The one thing that really captured their attention on the screen was my Bible. It was God's word. I don't know what that means, but I felt like it was really important to share it with you all. And apparently my mom did too. She says, make a TikTok on it. God's word is alive. God's word is here to stay. And God's word is meant to be shared. God bless you guys.
I love it. And again, guys, so that was on the conveyor belt. So that was on the x-ray scanner, right? And we talked about the shrouded Turin and the type of x-ray that took place when the Lord was resurrected, right? When God hit that cave, I don't know, the hole in the wall, whatever you want to call it, with that light. Boom. Woke up Jesus, walked out of that tomb 3 days later. Bro, so exciting. All right, on with the next. So this one is a 1958 encyclopedia. Talks about the flat earth dome and its heights. Now, again, guys, this is going back to the discussion that, you know, I've been harping on, screaming from the rooftops, right? In Genesis, it is described that God created the firmament, right? This is the thing that we've been talking about. This is the thing that houses the reflection of the moon that we see. This is the thing that I think as well through refracted light and imaging, not imaging, well, yeah, it is imaging actually, but through refracted light creates the moon and the sun, but the firmament is the key. All right, so listen to this. And again, this is 1958, guys. This is no more than 80 years ago. No, 60 years ago, sorry.
Remember how I showed you the maps that were here on Earth before 1958, before the governments took them out? And I'm going to show you the Encyclopedia Britannicas in the public libraries before 1958. Here is volume 2 out of the alphabet A. And we're going to flip to the Antarctica, which, and this is from 1958, as you can see. Now, we're going to flip to the Antarctica and see what the Encyclopedia Britannica from 1958, before the Antarctic Treaty, says is there.
1958, Encyclopedia Britannica. We all had a copy of this, right? We all had it down in our mother's basement or our father's basement, whatever, down in the house, right? The whole wall of encyclopedias.
Now, you won't find this in the new encyclopedias because the government's banned them. But what I want you to notice right here is, notice how it says the flights proved inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Take a really close look at that. Now I'm going to zoom it in for you. When they returned to New Zealand, these flights proved the inland areas to be featureless in character, with a dome 13,000 feet high at about latitude 80 degrees south, longitude 90 degrees east. Now, if this doesn't make sense to you, let me show you with an image of what a flat earth map would look like. Now, this is what a latitude 80 degrees south would look like on a flat earth map. As you can see, the dome comes down closer to you over the wall, which will be about 13,000 feet. Now, if you go back out into the center of the earth, or up the North Pole, and try to go up to the firmament with a little bit of calculation, it's going to show that it's about 385,500 feet away. It's really simple, folks. Now, if you're not familiar with any of this at all, and you're just now new to all this, you can say, well, this guy is crazy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But what you got to ask yourself is, why do all the maps before 1958 show a flat earth with the ice wall around it and a firmament, a dome? And why does the encyclopedia tell you that there's a dome there, and it gives you the exact height at a certain latitude and longitude? Well, the reason is because in 1958, that's when all governments and all nations of the world signed the UN treaty to ban all civilians from going to the Antarctica and NASA came in and erased everything just like they're erasing everything today.
Hey! Yo, Matthew! What's up, my dude? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the family. Thank you so very much for being here. I appreciate you. As you see, we host a really, or we have just a really chill corner on the internet, right? Just a little movement, or not even a corner, just a little place on the internet. We just chat, hang out. I'm off of work today, so I wanted to just honestly hop on and throw up some proofs and just hang out. And again, from my standpoint, if things make sense to me, I think they make sense to a lot of people, because I'm somebody who really has to understand something. And we're really just building a theory right now, and just kind of rolling through with it. So I really appreciate the subscription, and I appreciate you being here. And again, the interview with Mark yesterday, Mark is an absolutely amazing person. And I took a lesson out of his book. I've added all my information, Twitter, email, Discord, at the bottom of the post. So everybody has the information there to consume for their purposes, and, share things if they'd like. But yeah, speaking with Mark, again, his standpoint within the Flat Earth movement, and just to be able to exchange ideas and be on that same hanging point with somebody of that stature tells me that we're onto something, right? We're onto something huge. So, my guy, thank you so very much for being here. I appreciate you. So yeah, I'm gonna get onto this one. So this one I pulled out of, again, off of Mark's site. Mark's going to be a really, really good reference point for me, because, again, his information is readily available for consumption, which I truly appreciate. He threw up a video here called The Next Level, a must-watch Flat Earth video by Hibbler Productions. Now, I just pulled out a little segment out of this. This was a great little interview. Absolutely love this lady. She's about 102 years old, I think she says. Shout out to my grandmother. She's, I think she's going to be 101 next month. Yeah, next month, man. So, crazy, man. Old people are getting older. Respectfully, I say that, of course. Let's go, guys.
Tell me your name.
Ruth Heath,
Ruth, and how old are you today?
102,
102. So you were born in
1918.
1918. And we were just talking, and I asked you what shape the Earth is, and what did you say? What were you taught in school in elementary school?
I was taught in school that the Earth was flat.
Where did you go to school? Elementary school?
I went to Spoogland School in Hamden, Connecticut.
So how does it make you feel to realize that you were right as a kid?
It makes me feel better.
It does make you feel better, right?
Oh, it makes me feel alive.
Oh my God, that is so true. My whole life, I believe, what I was taught.
That's
and then
right.
when I discovered the flat Earth,
I feel better about it.
Because we are the center of creation.
That's right.
We are.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing, right? Again, guys, remember, I'm very, very, when I began this journey, very much of the opinion that we are sovereign beings, right? I understand, you're born into your family. Blood is blood. Blood is a binding agent, so to speak, on the 3D plane, right here. Blood doesn't exist on any other plane, so to speak, right? Your family loves you, right? And they do their best to instill the values of love into you so that you can learn love, develop your innate, and develop this sense of understanding, right? Now, the aspect of being able to remove, Mandela effect, extract that belief that you have within you that you are your own being, you are your own sovereign spirit, is this idea of taking away that you're not the center of the universe. It's not always about you, right? But guess what? I'm here to tell you that it is, in fact, all about you. It is all about mankind. It is all about what we came to do, to witness, to see what is being brought for us, which is divine love. right? Is that understanding that thing inside here that we've always belonged here, right? We're not uh we are his creation, and that's what the magnificence is, right? We are the center of his creation. And just by saying that, no, we're actually on this blue marble floating through space, all that does is literally makes us start to question our very own existence, right? Which is the mere fact of extracting your belief away from yourself.
Important.
That's right.
We are here.
We are God's children. And when all the problems that are happening in this world today,
I'll give you some good news. A lot of the problems that they report on the news aren't even real.
that's right. That's right.
They're just keeping us in fear.
Keeping up. That's right. That's right. That's right. I understand that. I understand. They just say what they want people to know.
That we never went to the moon, that was all fake.
Is that right?
That's correct.
I saw that all happening.
Yeah, so did I, and we all believed it, but that was just to reinforce that people to believe they can live on a ball, they can walk on a ball.
It's such a lie.
It's such a lie, but knowing the lie is like going to a magic
I
show.
woke up.
Yes, that's what we call it. We call it red. This is your moment of waking up. It's when you go to see a magician and you know how the tricks are done, and the magic no longer works on you, and you're free from the illusion. So knowing this is going to free your heart.
Cry.
Yeah, it's okay.
It makes me cry.
Happiness.
Yes.
Tears of joy.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, Rick, give me a hug. Here we go.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thank you.
Rockefeller seems to have a role.
Hey, we'll get to talking about Rockefeller just yet, but that's what it's all about, right? We are his creation, and as much as there are other things out there that we don't understand, I don't think we're supposed to, right? The fact that we have Polaris, it never changes, right? Polaris is the one constant that is always there, right? And it's the center. Tells us, at least tells me anyways, that we are the center of something, right? I realize that there's lands out there as reflected in the moon, and yeah, the moon's a reflection, and I'm going to get into that. But the aspect of this creation within this firmament, within this mass, well, I think that everything is based off of this seven heavens. I believe that there's seven firmaments. That this plane, 6,000 years old. That's what I believe, right? Just like Papa said, just like Papa wrote it in scripture.
Containing many of the interesting...
Snap! Sorry, I didn't intro this clip. I apologize, guys. Okay, so this next piece is again from Mark Sargent. This was his introductory piece that I got onto yesterday. So this was the piece that I was going to share yesterday on yesterday's show, and then I realized that he had his contact right here. So I was like, yo, let me email this guy and see if I can set up an interview. And things worked out and we ended up interviewing. So I wanted to do the Jen Psaki and circle back to this just to give it, because it's an amazing piece. It really is an amazing piece. And I appreciate Mark for putting this one together so much. Let's go.
Parts of the flat earth theory. For those who have already started seeing things with new eyes, it will be mostly a recap, but there could be a few new angles you haven't looked at. For the rest of you who are new to this, the first question is invariably, is this a joke? Because it's a joke, right? And that's where we start, because it's one of our two basic childhood facts. 1 + 1 = 2, and the Earth is a globe. We're taught this before almost everything else, and that right there should give you a clue on how serious this secret is. But for those who have forgotten their history, here's the modified Men in Black version. For the first 4,000 years of our civilization, we believed that the Earth was a flattish disk, surrounded by a solid dome barrier called the firmament. All of the 5 major religions had their own version of this, and the churches enforced the belief. Then, around 1514, a man named Copernicus created a new model of the world. He stated that if the Earth was spinning around 1,100 miles an hour and circling the Sun at 60,000 miles an hour, the world was then round. And while the math more or less worked, there was a problem. It was 1500, and the technology to prove such a theory wasn't there. The first balloon to carry people wasn't invented until 1760. Sailboats were the only travel over water, and the fastest thing on land was a horse. But the new worldview was promoted and took hold.
Interestingly, he makes reference to the horse. Remember, in the 1750s during the Napoleonic Wars, who were the guys that were carrying the news back to the Rothschilds of who won the war so that they can make the money play? Research it, guys. The letter carriers. They would hire guys on horseback, and they would ride the news back and tell them so that these guys could make the money play, right? And that's how they came to be. RKM.
Religions adapted to handle the new reality, and life moved on. More importantly, the globe model was quickly introduced into the education systems. Over the next 500 years, the challenges to this model faded, to the point where the globe was accepted as universally as physical laws such as gravity. Read that again if you didn't absorb it. For 20 generations, people believed that the Earth was round because there was a globe in every classroom they sat in. There was no proof. Hundreds of years went by, and still civilization had no way of proving the theory.
So let's think about that. They parked a piece of art. They just put it in the corner of the classroom, just left it. Like, we're just going to leave it right here. And then you just made copies and put it everywhere. And then all of a sudden they're like, and then they obviously used it as a reference material, right? Like, yeah, this is where we are. This is where we are. No one have ever thought, or I think the funny word is expunged, the idea that maybe it was just a big, giant, maybe flat thing, and they just kind of took it and went and wrapped it around. Maybe. All right, sorry. I gotta stop interrupting Mark. Sorry, Mark.
Planes were invented around 1900, but until 1957, nothing could go high enough to give a true perspective of where we lived. And that's when everything got strange. The United States and Russia both sent up rockets high enough to take decent pictures, and what they saw scared them a great deal. How do we know they were extremely concerned about the sky? Because the US and Russia immediately started firing nuclear weapons straight up, and they kept firing for the next 4 years. A few things to keep in mind here. First, this was now 1958. Nuclear weapons were very expensive and hard to come by. These also weren't those nominal yield 20 kiloton toys we used on Hiroshima. This was high kiloton to low megaton, and we couldn't get them up fast enough. And the strangeness continued in other places. In 1959, only a year into the atmosphere bombardment, 10 nations, including the United States, made Antarctica off-limits to any colonization. A treaty was put in place, and to this day remains intact. Over 50 nations now have signed off on this treaty. Do you know any treaty that has lasted that long between all industrialized nations? Moreover, do you know any piece of real estate in the world that is owned by no one? You would think at the very least one of the large oil companies would use their huge financial resources to explore this region, and yet they don't even petition the idea. The short version of the discovery is this. By 1958, the military had discovered the very solid upper and outer edges of our world, and had to create a way to put up do not enter signs without looking obvious. It was tricky, but if there is one thing I have learned about the authority, it's that nothing is left to chance. Most of the work had already been done for them, so their job was primarily in the details. The sky part of the dome was much higher than commercial air traffic, so the only thing they had to worry about there was the space program, which is immediately militarized. The outer border had the natural benefit of not only an extensive ocean, but a scaling decrease in temperature and a steady increase in iceberg frequency to discourage ships, all leading to a permanently frozen landmass that could not be used for any form of agriculture. This ocean and ice layout had worked well for thousands of years because the technology of the current civilization didn't evolve quickly. Sailors avoided cold weather seas whenever possible, and oxygen levels get low enough to harm people, even on high mountains. The brilliance of the design comes in the simple fact that human males are corrupted by power. Corruption so total, in fact, that they would rather hide the world itself rather than risk their power on it.
This guy. Wait. Where did he come from? Where did he come from? This dude. You know what I think about this guy, right? The abomination of the nation.
Theorized that kings and popes were told of the world a long time ago. Maybe an ancient scroll or book. Perhaps an interdimensional being told the tale of what the world looked like. But this was all but dismissed, because even the most powerful leaders of the day couldn't reach the borders. And if they couldn't, what chance did the general public have? It's one thing to be told of the giant impenetrable dome, but it's a whole different animal when you finally stand right next to it. Then the tough decisions have to be made. Do we keep the secret? And how far are we willing to go to keep the status quo? Once they decided to keep the secret, no expense was spared. The rapid progression of rocketry science had to be addressed quickly, and so the moon missions were created. Matt from the NASA channel was right in his thinking that you needed the moon mission event to stage a picture of the Earth from deep orbit, and that couldn't be more true. Establishing NASA as the frontrunner of space exploration also diverted people who would have otherwise created their own space companies for profit. The best engineers, technicians, and pilots were recruited to the NASA space program. Once there, they were compartmentalized on a need-to-know basis. The astronauts know of the deception and are sworn to secrecy under the penalty of whatever motivates them. Private space programs are discouraged, sabotaged, or absorbed into the NASA fold. Private sector spacecraft are just not going to be allowed for several reasons. The most obvious is the collision with the dome itself. The telemetry data from such a mission would show an impact failure at a certain altitude, and if repeated, would raise questions NASA just isn't prepared to answer. There are 3 perpetual questions about our world that can't be eliminated, but avoided at all costs. These are the questions you should ask yourself and others if this protective layer is going to be lifted. I'd like to preface this with a thank you to Max Malone, a conspiracy hardcore who has a knack for boiling down debates to a single paragraph whenever possible. It was he who said, after over 50 years and thousands of hours of space travel footage, both by NASA and other countries, there is no exterior shot where the astronaut completes the simple act of panning the camera 180 degrees, let alone a full 360-degree sweep.
And guys, I want you to bear in mind the fisheye, the bubble eye lens. Here, I'm gonna quickly reference this. And this may be coming up in Mark's discussion, I'm not sure, but the bubble eye lens was invented, I think, in the 1920s, right? So the bubble eye lens, there's no K in there, kill. There we go. Gives the, oh no, that's not what I'm looking for. Ooh, pictures of somebody's eyeball, that's gross. Sorry if I grossed you out. Bubble eye lens picture. I hope I got that right. I think so. There you go. Sorry guys. Okay, maybe this just isn't gonna work for me. Oh well. Anyways, you guys know the fisheye. It's the fisheye effect. Anyways, but that gives you the rounded effect, right? The distorted rounded effect that they're referring to.
This has never happened on any moon mission, exterior space station, Nothing. Ever. Statistics will tell you that this would have already happened by accident years ago, but it hasn't, and it won't. This is because of the rule they cannot break. The same rule that applies to television set shows that never show the fourth wall. Why? Because there is no fourth wall. Number 2. When you search online for pictures of the Earth from space, 95% of what you will see is a collection of artificial composite shots. In 2000, when I did this search, there was exactly one picture by NASA showing the bottom part of Africa and Antarctica. Now that picture is hidden within hundreds of simulated images. There are HD cameras everywhere, and no one is taking a shot of the Earth, because you can't get enough altitude to do it. Number 3. The commercial air travel routes for the southern hemisphere are wrong.
So good.
This is an easy thing you can check out in 60 seconds. Take a map reading of the distance between anywhere near Australia and anywhere in South America. It's a straight shot across the South Pacific. Now find your favorite travel site and try to get there non-stop. See what happens.
Can't do it.
The routes start turning ridiculous.
It's stupid.
I used to business travel for years, and I've never seen anything like it. It's the one thing in the general public world they can't hide. The actual distance between these two places.
Yeah.
On a round world, the flight is easy. Just a straight shot across an ocean. But on a flat world, it becomes the greatest distance between 2 points. There are no shortcuts, so they distract you with multiple connections and layovers. It's only blind luck that the United States was in the northern hemisphere. Otherwise, the increased traffic would have raised eyebrows by now. I know.
Oh, man.
It's madness. It's lunacy. There are people who will tell you straight to your face that all the leaders of the world are lizards, and yet these people laugh out loud when you say the words flat earth. I was, and still am, a huge conspiracy guy. I literally ran out of new tin hat topics to research, and I still wouldn't look at this one without embarrassment. But every time I glanced at it, there was something unresolved. And once I saw the near perfection of the whole plan, I was hooked. Do your own homework. Ask the questions. Get past the possibility and see if you can move into an even bigger picture. Like who built the dome and why. That's where it starts to get really interesting and things start opening up. I know I said years ago that the greater good was something that should be preserved, that JFK, Pearl Harbor, and 9/11 were inevitable. I still believe it, and I understand the decisions. The globe illusion, however, has run its course over the last 500 years. It's time to start again. If that means we end up getting the attention of who or what created this place and force the reset of the world, is that such a bad thing? I've put some links in the description that you might want to check out, like the current map projections used by the USGS, the United Nations logo, the Flat Earth Society, high-altitude nuclear tests, the Antarctica Treaty, among others. I'm not allowing ratings or comments on this video for several reasons. One, this topic seems to bring out the worst debates because of the initial denial. That, and I've seen dedicated trolls on the Flat Earth Society website who show up every day and say the same thing to new forum members.
Here's the thing, though. We love the trolls on this channel. Like, bring it. Because again, I said this yesterday in chatting with Mark, right? When you're armed with the truth, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That's fact. All right, you bring all the discussions that you want, because the only thing I've seen these guys say to me in the comments, and I do my best to engage in, and I like every single one of them. I give them all a thumbs up, because again, whether your energy is negative or positive, as an alchemist, I'm transmuting all of that into positivity for him. All right, that's why I'm doing my word or doing my job. And when it comes to if you can't see the trees from the forest or the forest from the trees, whichever way you want to look at it, then you could deal with him when he comes. If you're brave enough to stand up and be like, there is no God, dude, you can pick that up with him when he shows up, because he's coming. And let me tell you, he ain't happy. But that's all right. It's all good, because he spent the last 2,000 years saving the Gentiles, you and I. All right, this last one, again, is from Mark. It's 7 minutes long. Let me see here. Flat Earth Clues Part 1, Empty Theater. Now, with respects to the comments that are coming in the chat, I am looking at them and paying attention to them. I want to tell you, Matt, you're doing an amazing job because of the fact that we both come from the same background, right? Again, Catholicism and the understanding of his word and the respect for his word. I don't venture off that path. And again, we met on Mark's channel, so that already tells me that we're walking the same path. So your engagement in the comments is truly appreciated on my part. And yeah, I really don't have anything to say, because you're saying the right stuff. The one thing I will say is with respects to our placement in the reflection of the moon. If you guys stick around, I will address that at the end of this share. And again, guys, thank you so very much for being here. I appreciate you, as always. Let's go.
Clues, Part 1, The Empty Theater. This is part of a series of clues that can help you get your head around both the design of the flat Earth system we live in and who has been involved in the deception to hide it from you. The clue you have to look at is built upon another conspiracy that has been around for decades, namely the space program. Most of those watching this are aware of the varying theories revolving around NASA, the Apollo program, the space shuttle, the International Space Station, and so on. The clue itself isn't based on one of these highly debated topics, but the lack of one, more specifically, motion pictures based on actual events. This, like others in the series, is something you can check out for yourself. Everything you need to reference this is online.
P.S. No, not these guys. Oh, no, wrong part. I'm sorry.
To begin, think of all the movies involving space travel that you've seen in your lifetime. You'll start with the obvious. Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, just to name a few. In fact, if you go through your own personal list, you could probably come up with over 100 different off-world movies without breaking much of a sweat. That part is easy. For the second group, try to come up with space movies that aren't fantasy-based. You'll get a list that has Red Planet, Gravity, Mission to Mars, 2001, things like that. These films will usually take on a not-so-distant future theme, and where we could be down the road. And it's still a pretty good-sized list. These first two groups of films are encouraged by the authority, because they reinforce the globe model through assumption. The entertainment system demands that the globe view and solar system concept is a given. Therefore, the actual worldview must also be true. Or to put it another way, if you're using your suspension of disbelief as you watch a movie like, say, Gravity, then subconsciously you're reinforcing the movie right on top of the real world. The more of these movies you watch and enjoy, the more the lines blur between what you want to believe and what you actually know. Watch enough movies about Mars, and you will be less astonished when NASA announces an actual mission to Mars. Same with the Moon, other solar systems, and so on. Releasing the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey in
We're going to come back and talk about this. I'm not going to smash this out too far, because I need this to conclude, and then we'll talk.
1968, right before the actual moon missions, was no accident. It took the greatest director of all time 5 years to make, and several people who saw the theater screenings claimed that many military groups were listed in the credits, only to be removed years later. But 2001 is just a side note of this clue. For those who really want to dig into Stanley Kubrick's hidden vision, I highly recommend the documentary Room 237. A link to it is below as well. Now you are aware of the first two groups of space films. There are those that contain generous amounts of fantasy, and those who try to paint our near future. These two groups are easy to find. The third group is a challenge, and again, that's where things get interesting. The moon missions concluded in 1972, and even though it's still considered the greatest achievement by mankind, no fact-based movies were made regarding it until The Right Stuff was released in 1983. Now you might say that it had only been 11 years, and maybe it was tough to get the rights, and so on. But that's not what made the film interesting. The movie ran extremely long for 1983, coming in at 3 hours and 12 minutes. It was an exhaustive look at the astronaut selection process, the competition, and the training facility itself. But when the credits rolled 3 hours later, chronologically, they had only gotten to the low Earth orbit missions. Just for fun, Google The Right Stuff movie and see how many spacecraft you can find. It won 4 Academy Awards and did a great job at the box office, but the Apollo missions were never touched. The only other major motion picture that involved the actual moon program was Apollo 13 in 1995.
Hold on a second.
12 years later.
Wait.
Apollo 13 only covered a single moon.
Wait a minute. You mean this guy got to play, he got to go to space and he got to be invisible? You guys remember Hollow Man? One of the worst movies ever, man. Where'd he go? This guy is the only dude that made crazy bank on being in like half the movie. Because the rest of it, he wasn't in it. Get it? Okay, I'll stop. Oh, yeah. Alright. Steve Buscemi, this guy. This guy, though. And right, Tom Hanks.
The actual moon program was Apollo 13 in 1995. A full 12 years later.
And yeah, this dude. Do we trust this guy anymore? Mr. Handkerchief? Mr. Tom Handkerchief? Handkerchief. Over there messing in Cosmo's Pizza. No, Comet Pizza? Yeah, Comet Pizza. Yeah, we know what goes on in that basement of that pizza. You want to play some ping pong and eat some pepperoni pizza? Some hot dogs?
Apollo 13 only covered a single moon orbit and no landing or close-up reference to the previous missions below them. And after 1995, that was it. Nothing. Hollywood is known for leaving no stone unturned, with reboots and sequels to nearly everything. Yet in almost 60 years, there has never been a single moon mission movie based on actual events. Hundreds of science fiction films reference in it. Everything from Superman to the Transformers. But literally nothing that covers the moon's surface. 6 complete moon missions involving multiple vehicles, moon buggies, playing golf, and no one wants to touch it. Now, to be fair, there was a TV miniseries in 1998 covering the subject. It was produced by Tom Hanks, who got involved after starring in Apollo 13. There has been no professional production of any kind since then. Again, just for fun, Google From Earth to the Moon TV series and see what you find. The why is easy, and the clue revealed. If Hollywood makes a movie about the moon landings, and it's indistinguishable from the real thing, then how do you know which is real? It raises some subtle questions involving stage technique and how long they've been in place. If Hollywood could fake it now, then when did they first have the ability? There is one other movie which stands out, and I mention it because I can't believe it ever got made, is Capricorn 1. The film's plot involved the faking of a Mars mission and how it could be accomplished. In short, it's part of the Conspiracy World Bible. I highly recommend it, and the link is below.
I love it.
To summarize, all space movies are encouraged by the authority, except for the ones that are based on actual accounts. Those are not allowed. The moon program has been buried in entertainment because the moon cannot be reached. It's either outside the barrier or just a highly rendered image, like any planet you see when entering a video game. The world is flat, and this is just one clue. So do some of your own research and ask questions. Please feel free to email me at msargent23
Mark, oh, wait.
at comcast.net or 303-494-6631.
He's so legit. He's like, bring it. You have questions? Come. I love it. Mark's awesome. All right, give me a quick sec, guys. I gotta figure out. I gotta figure out some here while I'm in the studio before I jump over and start talking about the moon real quick. So, what are you guys thinking about this idea? Hit me up in the comments. So far, right? We're developing this this idea that we might be potentially sitting on a plane, but we need proof of that at this point. We need more proof, right? I think that's what we want. We want more proof. So I want to present an idea, a thought. An idea, a thought that we are just like the Mona Lisa. The Lord left our reflection in the sky for us to always remember how powerful we are. That's what I think. Now, what I'm going to show you and why I think this is, bear with me, guys. I'm just going to pull up my picture so that we can talk about it a little bit further and unpack it. Let's start with this one. Let's start with this one. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. Need to find a good picture so I can show you what I'm talking about. That's amore. Okay, here we go. This is the full moon. These are all the full moons. These are all the full moons. This is the same. No matter what we look at, the full moon never changes. This thing in the sky that we see, these darks, these lights, light areas, right? This is what I'm looking at, and I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. What if this were put in the sky for us to always remember and see us? I don't believe that this is an object because we have not been presented with. I don't even think NASA has presented us beyond the landing on the moon, right? But forgetting about the landing of the moon because there's still smoke on that whole idea, and you know me, when I see there's smoke, there's fire, right? But we have not been presented with 3D modeling of the moon. So I'm still looking at the moon like a projection. Like a beam of light, if you will. No, a projection is a better term. A reflection. My idea is that these are land masses. Right? Again, as I said earlier, these are land masses. This is water. Right? And I think this little piece right here is Australia. What do you think of that? So here's my thing. As I say, north, the Polaris, the North Star, that never changes, right? I believe that that's fixed. We've had pictures of looking up at the ceiling, right, and everything's spinning around this common point. I believe that that's somewhere in here, in this area here. And this is our section of like our known area. I think all of this is undiscovered. And I think the differences between here and here is a whole lot of ice. Right? But we were only supposed to be, man was supposed to be contained within this, within his creation, right? Because he created this entire thing, right? I believe that this whole section here is the plateau. And I also think that there's a relationship between the moon and the sun, right? And these things, again, in, as I was saying yesterday with Mark, the mention of the firmament, right? And in his words, in scripture, in Genesis, stated that he created the heavens with an S. This is why I say 7 heavens, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 firmaments, ceilings, domes, right? That encompass, I don't know if it's different sections of this, right? Or if it's a layering effect. I don't know. That goes out like a radio wave. I have no idea. But the moon and the sun being located in the firmament, right? The firmament is just a highly reflective surface, right? Think of not Pink Floyd, right? The prism, refracted light. I think that's what this dome is. The dome is literally creating. It's like a beam of light goes up and ping, 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 ping. It shoots all over this prism or the dome, right? And it creates these light wonders, right? The aurora borealis as another example, right? The moon, the sun. I don't know. Throwing out ideas, guys. I'm just throwing out ideas. Okay, let's see. That's my ideas. Matthew, I appreciate your comments, man. I don't know where I'm gonna miss and pick up on comments, but obviously seeing you guys engage. Okay, let me read this. Let me read. Okay, so no from Darth Mocker. Welcome. I appreciate the comment. First time seeing a comment from yourself, so welcome to the family. L. Robbins, I wouldn't put it past them to take the money and build underground dumps because we all know now there are underground dumps. Yeah, the deep underground military bases, that is correct. Matthew, for the actual purpose being that they could deliver a bigger nuclear weapon payload faster so that it is for space missions, but it is in fact a covert black budget weapons development program. The people's okay, sorry, I'm scanning comments. The Astronaut's Wife movie is starting to feel feasible. Matthew, just to tell you all, now I'm either super talkative like this, or I just say hi, then quietly listen. Today I push to discuss and elaborate on certain thought processes. Matthew, I appreciate your engagement, my friend. Really do. I truly do. What an insult to intelligence. My mom says, I appreciate that. Please do be the quiet. Please do. I'll be the quiet one. Anouk, we appreciate you. Do you see on that picture? Yeah, I have an idea. Again, like I said, that I think that bump, that dark mass off to the side is. I think this is Australia, right? And I think, what's the piece? This is the North America's stretch. Or I think this is the Americas stretch, sorry, in here. That's what I believe. It is coming, and when I say that's what I believe, I say from a standpoint of like we're formulating the thought process and getting there. And in the coming days, we will be unpacking more, especially on Saturday and Sunday. Yay. But yeah, I think this is Australia, and this is kind of where everything's happening. But again, you have to, it's tricky because you have to flip it, right? Because it's a mirrored image. And again, you have to flip it, and then from a standpoint of looking at well, actually, no, this one does a good job because, again, the dark portions is the land and the light portions is the water. So really, it's just an idea of having to flip the image over and get at it that way. No, well, that's just it. My mom just said, hold on a minute. Tenali, with all the crap in the air, who knows what is really above us? It might all be a projection. One day answers will be revealed. My mom then said, would you see it on a telescope? Yeah, sure looks like it. So you guys have to remember, I attempted to explain this to someone the other day. There are certain things that can be explained from, God's standpoint and what he's created and what we can behold and look at and things like that. But the actual sciences of it, right? Like, we can't, I have no idea, right? I can't answer that. That's it. And I quickly, not to sound dismissive about it, but I would say that that's a question to ask him, to ask God, literally. I can only explain to a certain point, and what I can say is, and again, I'm coming at it from a standpoint of like, I'm really starting to understand the science of it and how it works, is that it is literally a dome it's a dome of refracted light. That's it. I think that's the simplest, easiest way to put it. And as even Mark mentioned on the show last night when we were at the interview yesterday, and the fact that like the moon's rays, right, there is a temperature difference between, the light spots that the moon creates and the dark spots that sit outside of that, right? Which again tells me that there's something happening in the air, right? So, taking that aspect further and discussing that, I again believe that the moon and the sun are literally igniters of gases that are in the atmosphere, right? So think of it like an oven, right? You open up the oven door and you see the waves coming out, right? Or you open up the door on a hot day and you get hit with that humidity. No, humidity is not the same thing. Take that idea away. Sorry, I apologize. But we think of gases in the atmosphere, right? So when you have the sun gets hits the dome, it illuminates the dome, or the dome is, punch my glasses, oops. The dome is illuminated and the sun says, here I am, right? Because it's being shown to us as we can see it, right? And then those gases in the earth, in the sun's path, are activated and and not illuminated, but are activated, right? Let's say you're that person on the beach hanging out, right? You're in the line of those gases, sorry, right? You're going to, hi, here I am, right? And the gases are active, you're going to get tanned because those gases are being ignited by the sun. That's what I think. Right. And then when it comes to oops, geez, getting way too excited right now. And when it comes to the moon, right, the moon is doing the same thing, but in the opposite, yin and yang, right? Okay. That's enough for me right now. Wow. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out as always. And just being here to take in my crazy chats. Please like, share, subscribe. Hold on, wait for it. Hey, there it is. There's my wait, there it is. Yeah, there's my button. Let me take a look at the comments. Let me see. Where do I live on the moon map? I'll show you in the coming days. I promise. I will show you in the coming days. Pictures show a country where on the reflection It's coming. It's coming. I live in a small country. I can't find it. I'll show you guys. Don't worry. It's coming. Remember, we're so microscopic in this thing. Is, you know, that's where we can't fully see the forest from the trees. But yeah. Have an amazing day, guys. I hope you enjoyed that show. We'll be back. Hold on. Today's Thursday. Work tomorrow. I'm in the office tomorrow. So I'll be back Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. Another share. So if you guys want to be here to hang out, this is where I'll be. Appreciate you guys so very much as always. Have an amazing day and amazing evening as well. Be well, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.